because we referenced some on the past episode, and we can update the narrative now about Liquid. So obviously they're in the playoffs. They did have a super close game against Monty. I will say that was way too close for comfort. But I mean, for example, in the match they lost to Mouse, which everyone was in the playoffs already. I will say this: remember, Mouse had a ninja fucking defuse. Like that game could have been 3 maps. I would have loved to have seen the third map. That would be very interesting. The problem I have with Liquid is this, mate: is a lot of the focus right now is obviously on Yekindar because he's just not old Yekindar, right? Or Skullz because people know his buyout's insane. And these two narratives just swirl around the team like rain clouds waiting to piss on the parade, as it were, right? But I have to say, even with all of those bundled together, it's still a pretty decent team, actually, mate. It still just looks to me like it's getting better and better. Like, I'm actually sort of in the position where I'm still unsure because I get worried when someone like Yekindar can't just snap out of it, and they have the halves that are good, but they have the halves that feed too. That does scare me a little bit, but I do think actually people were way too quick to write this team off. Like, there's something here. Like, they're in all these games, mate. They're always in the game, no matter who they play. Even when they played FaZe, they were in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you. I think a conversation we had with Caden in China when he joined the desk after a win, he said, well, actually something that I pointed out to him, but he agreed. He said, we haven't really played LANs. Like, we haven't seen them.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why a lot of people already are writing this project off as a failure, is because they have been together for X amount of months.
Oh, it's true,
which is usually it's my threshold. Like 3 or 4 months together, you guys haven't done anything. That's it. It's time to think of changes. But I think not only because of the ranking system, but also because of the RMR and the format and the fact that they missed out on the major cycle, we didn't see much of Liquid. They didn't really get to go through the reps of playing LANs together, playing matches together, learning from it, seeing how they behave as a team, and like finding their marks and all that. We didn't really see any of that. So now it seems like with a little bit more reps under their belt, it's actually coming together. I mean, they're not a trophy lifting team. I don't think so. But we went from this is a clownery of a Counter-Strike team to no, actually, wait a minute, something's happening. Twist is delivering. NAF is delivering. I think Cadian is starting to create something that is coherent as a team and how they're playing the Counter-Strike. So it's much better than what some people expected at the very beginning. I was always very careful with having definitive opinion because I just thought my sample size is just too small. I don't know. I don't know how that team is going to do. I haven't seen enough of them. But now we're getting to see them a little bit. Chengdu was not that bad. Here, the Mouse game, sure, I would have hoped for map number 3 to see what's happening. But we're going to get the answers in the playoff.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the playoffs already. We're going to get to see more of them. That's going to be just next week. But on the, I have a different opinion on the Yekindar and the Skullz side.
Hit me with it.
I worry more about Yekindar than I do about Skullz. Just in terms of like the path that you can be as a player, like idiosyncratically. I think Skullz, going from full-on Brazilian Counter-Strike to now being just like the anchor of this star-studded team in a completely different environment, playing in English and all, I'm ready to extend him an olive branch in terms of there might be a shock at the very beginning. You might get lost. You might feel like you have no space. Maybe he's not cut for it. Maybe in 3 months or in 6 months, they cut him because he wasn't meant to evolve in that sort of context, in that kind of a team. That's okay. That can happen. I'm not saying he will be an absolute revelation, but I think at this point in time, I am ready to extend an olive branch for him to find his marks. He need lands. Like, he need lands. He need more lands.
People don't realize how few he's played, mate. When he was in Pain, they were playing Brazilian lands and like the RMR and Blast or something. That's all like the fucking major. If you made the first drop, that's it. He actually, even though he's 22, he's quite inexperienced.
Exactly. So I would like to see more lands from him. And more importantly, I want to see more lands with time in between. I want to see him go to an event, do good, do worse, whatever it is. Then time passes, I want to see him in a different event. So I can say, well, this was what happened in Chengdu. This is what happened in Malta. 6 weeks later, here we are. Is there a difference? Is there an improvement? Is it actually worse? And then I can start to have a more fixed opinion. When it comes to Yekindar, I believe the alarm bells are very, very close to being rang. Just in terms of like the lack of confidence and the second guessing he's showing in his game, when you know how pivotal he is in his positions, I don't know for how long this can go on before someone in Liquid or maybe himself start thinking, hey, like, would we actually do better with someone else in that position? Because I think in his defense, it's really hard to be in Yekindar's roles and not be good and hide it. Like, you
Oh, of
cannot hide
course.
it.
Yeah, you're
You
gonna
cannot
feed.
hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot hide that you are struggling right now. It's not a role where you can just get like the free, easy, blindsided kills and suddenly, that's okay. I ended up with 17, 18 kills. It's not that bad. I have a 1 rating, moving on. No, you get stuck in a lot. You have to go all in on some of the openings you're attempting. You're a playmaker. You take space.
By the way, he takes nearly more openings than almost anyone else. But the
No,
problem
I'm
is
not surprised.
he just dies a lot, of course. So yeah, it's going to
Exactly.
make you look really bad. Yeah.
Exactly, and I'm not surprised, and I definitely in my career I cannot relate, but by having talked to and known a lot of entry fraggers,
Sure.
they will tell you that this is a role where it can get very streaky and very momentum based. You can have periods of time where you feel like, holy shit, I can get nothing done. I don't have my timings, my tricks aren't working, people have figured me out, I don't have confidence. So is this what's happening with Yekindar? And then eventually there's going to be the roller coaster is going to go up again because he's going to grind his way back. Maybe. Sure, maybe. I think he's shown what he could do in VP. There's no reason to think he could never do that. But I always wonder, like, how hard is it for him to be in this team right now and see himself fail to deliver what he needs to over time? That's what I worry about. And if that continues on that trajectory on land, then unfortunately, I think Liquid is going to start asking questions about their future. Maybe it's a little too early now. The same for Skullz. It might be a bit hasty to just say after, what is it, like 3 or 4 lands they've played? Well, actually, Yekindar, that's it. It might be too hasty, but if this continues this way, can you really justify keeping an entry that's delivering what he's delivering now? Is there any way you can justify that?
I mean, the main problem as well for me is this. One of the things I went and looked at for Yekindar, because the problem one of my biggest flaws, I always talk about the problem fans have and other analysts. One of my biggest flaws is when I know someone has mechanical talent, the biggest mystery of all time is where that goes. Is why does feel for the game make the talent suddenly not work? Or why does the talent just leave you sometimes? Why is it like the equivalent of the striker who just can't kick it in the goal anymore? He goes from being a brilliant player, he's making the runs, he's getting the ball. Somehow he just, some brain fart happens, he misses, he kicks it over the bar, he kicks it in the post, he fucking passes when he should shoot, like he loses the confidence. That is the greatest mystery because it's in your domain, mate. It's all in the psychological world there. It's nothing to do with like the hands. You know that if I could download myself, I'd just shoot people in the head. Jokingly, obviously, I wouldn't do that. But you get the premise. If I didn't have his mind state, I'd love to, obviously. I've always said this is why I used to tell Config, you're fucking your career up, mate. Because I used to say, when I talk to the others, they confirm what my eyes see. Your aim is bonkers. It's like, give me or some of my mates who are players your fucking aim, mate. We'll go to town. Never mind all this shit with like having personality problems. We'll just fucking use the aim and win the game, you idiots. So when you're Yekindar, my biggest problem is this. When I looked into it, it's not, this is why it can't just be that like they're ruining him with his roles. Every map, it's the same, mate. It's not like it's on this map, he has like the spots and it works, but then on this other map, they put him in a bad... Map to map to map, the performance is still just like, it's not there. He has a half every now and then that's good, and even that doesn't bring his stats up because the overall aggregate is too low. And then the other thing is as well, this is where I can't believe he's being bullied. I can't believe they're forcing him on the outskirts. It's his team. Bro, they kicked Elige for you to be in this team and be the IGL. They gambled the whole org that you could be the IGL. And remember, they're not Complexity or Heroic Boys. They're fucking Team Liquid. They're a team that, as you can see by the money spent on this lineup and getting people like Twists to come back, keeping people like Nafo, I can tell you, had the offers if they wanted them. You aren't here to be cool and be, hey, cool, in the playoffs. You're here to actually lift that trophy. If everyone else has a bad day, by the way, here's the obvious one if you Team Liquid. Did you not just see Na'Vi win a major with like an underpowered roster, like some questionable forms? Why can't that be you? You got nothing twists? Isn't Cadian supposed to be a world-class? Bro, if I told you we're making this lineup 2 years ago, you'd all be fucking hyped as shit. Like, holy fuck, that's like a major winning lineup. Now we're just going like, well, they're making the playoffs. That's good. Hey, maybe they can do something if they get to a third. Not even I'm fucking doing it. We've all lowered our expectations. Well, I'm sorry, Yekindar. That's actually the org you're in now. And then lastly, I'll just throw this in there. One of the reasons why I don't also worry about this team long-term is the reason I worry about complexities of the world is I do think they have some nice guys in the negative win spots there. They have some people who will just be too long suffering. They'll just put up with it for a while and they go, well, good job. Or they'll they'll lie to themselves that when you do the one upset, like, oh, finally they showed their real level. It's like, no, that's called an outlier, mate. They're not going to do that next tournament. That's not real. It's fool's gold. Don't think it's real. But I'll tell you what, the man I trust in team is Zeus. Mate, this guy, I can tell you, is fucking hungry. He doesn't want to just be remembered as the guy who won with majors years and years ago. And remember, no one even gives him credit for those majors. They go, Cold Zero was the best player in the world, and Fallen was the genius professor who fucking, reinvented Counter-Strike. Like, they don't give you the credit, Zeus. People even forget because he wasn't in the 2019 Liquid. He was the one who brought Team Liquid to the top in the first place. He took Team Liquid from, they're good for an NA side, to they're the stone cold second best team in the world. And the only team they can't beat is the best team to ever play Counter-Strike. So I know that this guy, he's not going to sit around forever and let someone like Yekindar just fucking do this forever. So luckily for me, I think there is essentially there's a trigger that will be activated if he doesn't get it together. Now, I will say he's also in that position of Halzerk and Nikados and let's say maybe Dika in Ents. You're on the hot seat. And by the way, that doesn't make it better. That makes it much, much worse. Knowing that when you fail, you're almost seeing on the screen with no scoreboard, it may as well say about to be transferred in 10, 9, 8, 7. You know what I mean? Like, it makes it even more pressure. But the problem is, this is why, to bring it back to sort of an Immer Fifth Lauren angle, it's not unjustified though, is it, mate? Like, at the end of the day, if you were doing your job awesome and another teammate was having trouble, eventually you'd also say, look, even if I like you, even if it worked, even if you were a great player, eventually you got to fucking shit or get off the pot, as we say in English. You got to do it. We've got to deliver. Because we are Team Liquid. We are a big squad, mate.
And you have to realize as well is that, unfortunately for Yekindar, changing him for another European player doesn't put Liquid in the European category of RMR.
I made this point on Snake and Banda. This is the part they're missing. The NA players could fuck around. Twists could have come and had a hard few months, mate, because they need to have the 2 NA, the 2 non. You're right. It doesn't change the RMR slot, and that is a massive deal right now if you want those easier stickers through NA. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that finding someone who is willing to put himself in these positions is easier than finding the next diamond in the rough as a fucking B anchor. I swear to God, you look at all of the mega talents that's coming in the pipeline. Yimpa is an outlier in the sense of Yimpa came out and he's just a ramp player on Nuke and he's happy to frag 24 people because he's that great. Like, new players, I don't think they're getting excited about being just anchors. No. They love to get stuck in. They play FPL. They play the frags. They play the duels. They want to get in there. So now you look at how Yekindar is playing. What you do is you take a demo of him. You take his roles. You remove his nickname. You remove the tag, and you go and you show that to some of the young kids out there. And you say, hey, you want to do this role? You want to be the one running in the strategy? Go ahead. Like, people are going to say, fuck yeah. Like, this is the Counter-Strike I want to play. Send me in. Send me with flashes. Get me stuck in there. Like, there's going to be people who line up for that. And I think he's not going to be in that position delivering that for too long before they make a change. Because I will also, and I'll finish on that, when you say, Zeus is hungry as a coach, I don't really know him personally, but I'll take your word. He does seem, from just a non-verbal behavior when he's playing, he does seem to want it. Like, there's he wants it. I think it's the same for Cadian. I think Cadian is still extremely hungry to win. Like, if you think about the dimension,
it should be even more hungry now that Strauss is cooking, mate. It should be even more hungry.
And you think about what it would do to his sort of legacy to be able to, after having the heroics. I know Heroic hasn't won a major and they didn't win IEM Cologne, but he still took a squad that we didn't really pay attention to too much. We thought they were just first we thought they were online merchants, then we thought they were just group stage merchants, and eventually we realized that maybe the last game of the tournament or the 2 last games of the tournament are where nerves set in. But he made more out of the piece that I think anybody would have foretold when it comes to Heroic. And now he gets to do it in an international team. Like, he's got the chance to showcase that he can do it both ways. He can do it domestically, he can do it internationally, he can do it with a brand new roster. He's got no reason to be satisfied at all. And Twist is in the same boat. Twist made the incredible decision to say, I don't want to be just a piece and a well-oiled machine. No. I don't want that. I don't want to win more trophies just by being a player that does a job. No, I want to be a star. That's what I want to do. If that's not a hungry just sort of attitude to have, then what the fuck is this? Like, if that doesn't mean you actually want to bite the hell out of Counter-Strike, I don't even know what that is. So I think Twist, Cadian, Zeus, they guarantee you a level of demand that is extremely high and healthy for a team. And then you have Naf, who probably is going to be the eternally underrated player in the history of Counter-Strike until the end of time. But somehow he's still here. You've managed. I don't know how they're doing. I don't know what kind of voodooism they're doing on Nav so they could actually keep him in the roster, but they manage. He's still here. He's still fragging. He's still the highest rated player as a fucking anchor. That's great for them. So no, I think they have enough. They don't have enough, but they have a core that is extremely strong. The one I'm ready to believe in. No problem. But let's see in 3 months if changes need to be made. It might just be early now. We are in May now. Let's see in September or so when Pro League is happening the next season. Let's see where they're at, and we can probably do a post-mortem on the lineup.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.